Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Everton Show. Darren can't be here this evening, so he's entrusted the show to me, Alan Irwin, as we try and catch up on what's been a breathless week at Everton. Well, it just wasn't meant to be, was it? The long wait to decorate Goodison Park with the three-handled League Cup trophy goes on. The boys gave it their best shot, but ultimately it just wasn't enough. Alongside me, a man who needs no introduction whatsoever and a man who was there on Wednesday evening to witness it all, Ian Snodin. Snods, it was, exactly as we've said, just not meant to be.
It weren't meant to be. Absolutely gutted I was, to be honest, at the end of the game, especially after we got off to a great start. It was difficult the first 10 or 15 minutes. Man City put a lot of pressure on, kept the ball, but once Ross scored the goal, you could see the Evertonians behind the opposite goal went absolutely crazy, and you could see Wembley beckoning. But they are a good side, Man City. They did come back into it. They were the better side on the night. There's no question about that. But once Ross's goal went in, I thought we got a hell of a chance.
Wasn't to be, as we've said. Plenty more to come from Snods and plenty more reaction on Wednesday in this week's show. We've got Kevin Kilbane as our big interview guest, and we'll also enjoy these contributions too.
Massive calls and even strange calls throughout the game killed our momentum and obviously gave City the extra bit of a push, and unfortunately for us, the officials didn't spot the ball out.
Being happy with the way we've started this year. Also my personal performance has been good as well, and to chip in with a few goals and off the side, which Bunzy's been asking me to do recently, pleased me a lot. Yeah.
What an impressive guy Bill Gates is. It was special, obviously, being an American and knowing what he's done, not only with Microsoft but also his philanthropic donations for the past 2 decades is impressive.
It's going to be a bit difficult because we're playing away from home, but it will also be, hopefully for us, less pressure because, you know, when you're at home and you're playing against a lower league, for them it's motivation.
Well, Roberto Martinez had already managed his team to an Etihad clean sheet a couple of weeks earlier, and so he knew that the players were more than capable of going back to Manchester and securing a passage to Wembley. But as we say, it just wasn't to be.
Well, it's a devastating feeling, not because we've been knocked out, it's in the manner that it happened. We showed incredible personality, and the way that we started the game, scoring the goal, it was the perfect way to settle into the tie. I thought the support was magnificent. We were really hyped up the moment that we walk onto the pitch. And it's devastating in the manner that the second goal is allowed to stood. If you see the replay, is a really easy call to make. The ball is completely out of play, and that allows the second goal, which is a big moment, not just in this game, in the tie. We knew that that moment was going to be very significant in many ways of the way that we perform, in the way that we were well aware of what we had to do. That second goal was going to be pivotal, and to accept that that goal is allowed to count is very difficult to reflect the feelings that we have in the dressing room, the feelings that all our fans will have. But we need to take this as an incredible inspiration, because the team is getting ready to compete against teams like Manchester City over 2 legs, and we need to make sure that we use this from now to the end of the season to take our fans to Wembley.
How do you go about picking up the lads now?
Well, I think the players, as low and down as they are, they know as well that it wasn't a straightforward tie for Manchester City. Manchester City are a team that they are built, and the money that they spend, they are expected to compete for every final and every title in every competition. And what we achieved this season is to create a team that is competitive, that can play eye to eye against any team, and to do what we've done over 2 legs against Manchester City and be knocked out in the manner that we've done. The only thing you should give us is an incredible drive and a strong personality to go and achieve and make sure that we fulfill our potential this season.
I think in the circumstances, Snods, Roberto Martinez was quite reserved in his comments after the game, because as a manager you'd have been fuming.
I certainly would. I don't think the officials on Wednesday night covered themselves in glory, to be honest. I really don't. Yeah, the first goal we conceded was unlucky again. Yet again, another deflection. I think Joel had that covered. But the second goal's the one. Like the week before, previous week against Chelsea. John Terry offside. This one, the ball was clearly out. There's no question about it. Sterling's crossed it. De Bruyne's knocked it in for 2-1. That was a crucial point of the game for Man City to go 2-1 up, because at 1-1 they still had to get a couple more goals on.
And I think even the build-up to where the ball did cross the line, Stones have been penalised for a foul throw.
How can he give a foul throw? He's not even thrown the ball in. That's what Jags had his argument about.
Quite right as well. As you can imagine, it was a tough task asking the players to share their views on what had been a disappointing night at the Etihad. But, of course, the skipper, Phil Jagielka, was one who stood up to the plate.
We probably didn't play as well as we wanted to. That's the main thing. But you look how the game was won for them. Obviously, massive calls and even strange calls throughout the game. Killed our momentum and obviously gave City the extra bit of a push. And unfortunately for us, the officials didn't spot the ball out, obviously for the second goal, and then it sort of went downhill from there.
And we started so well, didn't we? Great goal from Ross.
Yeah, I think they came at us early doors and we managed to hold strong and then got individual goal from Ross. But the way things have gone a little bit, the deflection off Bainsey over Joel for their equaliser, so frustrating. So we're desperate to get to the final, give the fans, a fantastic day out, and obviously hopefully have the potential chance of some silverware. But it's not to be in this competition. We've got another cup competition coming up on Sunday. We need to make sure that we get stuck into that.
You mentioned the deflected goal there. It's not an excuse, and I hope it doesn't sound flippant, but we're due a change of luck, aren't we, somewhere?
I'd like to think so. If you look at the 3 goals of deflection, a ball was out and then the guy told me potentially an offside, so we've not had too much luck over these last few weeks, and like you say, I'm not saying we performed particularly well tonight, but we may have done well enough on another night when a few decisions that weren't too hard may have gone our way and we may have seen things out.
You've been in the game a long time, Phil. You've had your share of ups and downs. How difficult will it be to lift the boys for Carlisle United at the weekend?
It will be difficult. I think obviously it'll be a quiet bus ride home now. Just basically get into training, get the bodies back going again, and a trip to Carlisle. We need to make sure that we have to bounce back. The cup competition is probably the biggest thing for us for the remainder of the season. Obviously the league isn't exactly where I want it to be. If we have a good run, we can obviously climb the table, but getting to a semi-final and being that close is obviously heart-wrenching.
Hard enough for players to conduct any interview after any sort of defeat, never mind a semi-final defeat, Snods. The captain speaks well, as always, but it's his job, I suppose, on the pitch now to lift the players.
Yeah, you could see in the interview the huge disappointment in his face, in the way he was speaking, but you're right, he is captain of the club. We've got some important games coming up. We've got an FA Cup tie at Carlisle on Sunday that we've got to win. There'll be 3,500 to 4,000 Evertonians going up there, so they need lifting as well with a good performance. But yeah, it is really difficult. You're so close to Wembley, you're so close to giving the fans a fantastic day out, and it's so far it's gone, the season, but the season's rolling on. We've got important games, as I say. We've got to win these games as well, climb as far up the league as we can and go as long as we can in the FA Cup.
And it is the FA Cup next, of course. Wednesday night didn't pan out as we had all hoped, and there's little doubt that the preparation to Manchester City wasn't helped by the lacklustre defeat against Swansea City at Goodison 3 days earlier. This is what Gareth Barry made of that particular game.
I think the second half, obviously, we're disappointed. We've really dominated and could easily have won the game, not letting us get a draw. But I think the first half's really where we need to look at ourselves and say we probably didn't perform to the levels we should be. At home, we should be, coming out the blocks really quickly, getting the fans off their feet. But we gave them a bit too much respect, and coming in at 2-1 down here, we're disappointed.
Seamus's effort with the last kick of the game, it summarised our afternoon really.
That sort of summed the second half up. We were just nearly a lot of pressure, inches away from 2 or 3 goals. But that last one, it's come quickly to Seamus, so it's a hard chance to take. But on another day, when things are going, it hits him and goes in.
Are you claiming that goal as yours?
I've been told it's an own goal, and it would have been nice because I'm on a long run without scoring. But goals are obviously not a worry of mine. So if it's mine, it doesn't worry me. It's about winning games, winning football matches, and today we haven't done that.
Disappointment for Mo as well. He'd been playing ever so well alongside you in midfield, and then he's got a bit of a reoccurrence of his old injury.
Yeah, it's always a disappointment. You know, you work all week on a team, performing out there, and to pick up 2 injuries in 20 minutes, it sort of throws you on the back foot a bit. You sort of change in tactics and different players, personnel coming on. It makes it more difficult than it should be, but it's football. These things can happen. Yeah,
how have you found that the last few weeks, really, last month or two? You've played alongside quite a few different players in that central area.
Yeah, I think the players we've got here and the quality we've got, anybody can come in and do a job. So I don't think the different players coming in has made any change at all. They're all high quality. As you mentioned, Mo, he's certainly improved for me. He's learning a lot about the English game, and he's upped his game another level. So if he continues doing that, he can turn into a good player at Everton and keep improving.
That's just about it then for part one, but there are plenty more things to reflect on. After the break, we'll feature another brave little Everton hero. We look at the visit to Finch Farm of a chap worth, amazingly, over 50 billion quid. And we speak to the manager of Everton Ladies. Welcome back to the second part of this week's show. Once again, we welcomed a brave little Everton soldier onto the pitch during the half-time break in our recent Premier League game with Swansea City at Goodison. 9-year-old George Shaw has cerebral palsy, but that does not stop him enjoying his football. He loves Gerard Deulofeu, and our Spanish wizard thinks the world of George Shaw. I think you'll enjoy this piece of film.
This is George. He's 9 years old and has cerebral palsy. Earlier this month, his dad posted this video online of him training.
Head up. Great ball. Can you finish?
It quickly went viral, and one of the thousands and thousands of people who saw it was the man whose name was on George's Everton shirt.
I see the video maybe 20 times, and it's amazing, because this mate, I think, have paralysis cerebral, and it's amazing. When I see the video, I ask with my people of image, Integrity Club, and I say, please repost this tweet, and if this mate won't come to Goodison for see Everton, I wanna give some tickets and give my boots, because it's amazing. This is my heart, this and my t-shirt is incredible.
Jerry invited George to Everton's game against Swansea, and the young Blue met the players before the game. He then took part in Everton in the Community's half-time pitch coaching before this special moment. That wasn't the end of George's day though. He was invited back down to the players' tunnel after the game where, along with his dad and sister, he spent more time with Jerry.
Do you want Gemma to sign them? I've learned some Spanish for you.
Yeah, you learn Spanish?
Do you want me to sing?
Tell me.
Muchísimas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Sergey. No problem, you're welcome.
Hugely enjoyable. What a special day it was for young George, and you can just see by the smile on his face how much he was enjoying it, Snods.
Quite touching as well, really was, and I know Jerry was fantastic with him when he actually saw the video, as he said. It pulled the strings on his heart, it really did, and it gave him a fantastic day and thoroughly deserved. But Everton are like that as a club. We are the people's club, as they keep saying, and we do great things for the community and people like George. And I'm so delighted he managed to score in the Gladys Street and got bigger reception than I got bigger cheer
what a
than
response!
What I got.
What a response
it
from the
was absolutely
fans.
fantastic, but he thoroughly enjoyed it and he well deserves it as well.
I think it's not just something the club do well, but the fans who respond at half-time, I mean, many of them don't go down for a half-time cuppa or whatever. They're there and they get very much involved in these, don't they?
Yeah, they embrace it. They really do, whether it's ex-players coming onto the pitch or people like George, they really give it their all, and they welcome him onto the pitch. And as I said, when he scored his goal, he got a bigger cheer than when big Duncan Ferguson used to score in the Gladys Street end. But no, I'm proud of Jerry as well. He really looked after him that day.
Yeah, and everybody else behind the scenes, and it's great when the youngsters can get inside the dressing rooms and see what really goes on, and see the players after the game as well. It gives them something special to take home in terms of memories.
Yeah, it does. It's a great insight for him. I'm sure he went to school the next day and couldn't speak highly enough of Everton as a club and his day that he had, and meeting all the players and going in the dressing rooms. It's fantastic for him.
Yeah, I believe we're still waiting to take the smile off young George's face, but again, something that Everton Football Club do wonderfully well. Well, when you get a call from a charity as big and as world-renowned as Sport Relief asking if one of the richest and most influential men on the planet can come and have a look around Finch Farm, what can you say? Well, of course, we didn't hesitate. We threw open the gates of the training ground to welcome the founder of Microsoft, Bill Gates.
What an impressive guy Bill Gates is. It was special. Obviously, being an American and knowing what he's done, not only with Microsoft, but also his philanthropic donations for the past 2 decades is impressive.
There's 4 different groups come together to all support the campaign against malaria, but it shows how these big foundations, when they group together, add sport in as well, the power that has.
I think we all know the power that sport has. You know, it bridges gaps, it brings countries that are thousands and thousands of miles away together, and it has an impact, and everybody loves sport no matter which one it is, and so it's nice for us to be involved. You know, I think Everton, the community does tremendous work. Lots of people know that, but it's good to, as I said, be incorporated in it and get involved.
Well, it's something that we all need to work on. I know quite a lot about it. Obviously, the England players did a little campaign last year as well. And everyone's trying to raise awareness. It doesn't take a lot. You know, a mosquito net can do so much for people over there, and it's nice that these foundations, these massive foundations, can spread the word. Obviously, through a fantastic sport like football, and it's nice that we can just turn up, have a few chats, and be able to help them as well. So working together is something that we look to do as a club. You know, we pride ourselves on what we do off the pitch. And it's nice that you know, the people have had a little treat today, obviously meeting the 2 guys.
We are a football club that we care about our fans and our community. We got more than 60 programs running at the same time. So clearly, to be side by side with such 2 big influential sources of good work, and especially with Sport Relief campaign, is a really good match to send that strong message of what we care about and how we can try to help changing lives and affecting lives in the right manner.
And Sport Relief has become such a fantastic charity now, Snods. It's amazing the work that goes on, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is, and they usually have the game at Old Trafford or Wembley as well to generate money for Sport Relief as well. But we were present, the 3 ambassadors there that morning when Bill Gates came down, and didn't really get to meet him. He just basically told us to move out of the way so he could get to Tim Howard.
More important people than you, Snods.
They certainly was, but as you say, great charity. Great to see a very, very wealthy man at Finch Farm.
In your playing days, who was the wealthiest man that ever came to visit Everton training back in your day? No such man as Bill Gates, I suppose.
Not really. I think Sharpie. I think Sharpie was the wealthiest one there because he never really spent much money. So we used to see him every day in the dressing room. So I'd say Graham Sharp because he's like a spend.
I don't think you got too many visitors back in the old days at
all.
good old Belfield, did you, Snods? But great to see the likes of Bill Gates making a visit to Finch Farm. Right, now it's time to talk about Everton ladies because they begin their preparations for the forthcoming Women's Super League 2 campaign. The ladies missed out on promotion last season, but with Andy Spence back in charge and new signings arriving, they are focused on making the step up this term.
The girls have worked fabulously. You know, you've heard me say we were going to really set a real clear tone to how we wanted to do things in pre-season, and so far, you know, we've delivered on that, and it is a collective. You know, the staff have been brilliant as well. So, you know, I've got to give a big acknowledgement to, you know, we've had a few changes in terms of physios and sports science, and obviously Martin coming in as an assistant, and they've been brilliant. They've really driven from the staff side, if you like, you know, that energy and that desire to want to really implement our values, and then the players have took it and ran with it and added to it, which is all we can ever ask. So it's really good, yeah.
I've chatted to a few of the girls and they were saying this is the best they've known the spirit amongst the group. Would you agree with that?
Definitely, yeah. It sort of complements, as I say, probably having us really focusing in on what is it that we want our team to look like and what is it that we want to represent. So we know we have an expectation of representing Everton Football Club, but what's unique to our Everton team, and the girls have really kind of wanted to work really closely together, and as I say, collectively with the staff, because that's the key thing. If we're all on message and we all want to do the same thing, which is do well this season, then, you know, generating that team spirit is really important. And, you know, the girls are already looking forward to, we're having a team meal, going to watch the men play the semi-final on Wednesday and things like that. So, you know, it's involving everyone to understand Everton Football Club, and that's what we wanted to get over very quickly. And the girls have, as I say, been exceptional with regards to the work and how they've gone about it.
We've seen a few girls go away on international duty, which I guess has broken up pre-season a little bit, but we're never going to hold them back, are we?
No, of course not. I think it's always a compliment, really. You know, I look at the squads and whether even that be our younger age groups as well. We've had, you know, 2 or 3 younger players from our centre of excellence get called up for the first time in under 15s camps, but more so with the older girls. We see that as a huge compliment to the work that we do with the girls and the staff across all the age groups have done with the players. So yes, it's one of those, you think, well, we're only just into pre-season and maybe you'd want to spend as much time with the players as possible, but again, we know that international football enhances them as players, so we wouldn't want to work against that. We want to encourage it, and we know that the girls obviously are immensely proud to represent their countries, so, you know, it's always nice for us to see them go away and do well.
Well, Andy Spence certainly sounds like he is ready for the new season that is fairly imminent, Snods, and women's football in general has seen a huge surge in popularity.
It certainly has. When I was a player at Doncaster, they had a famous ladies team there, Doncaster Bells, who were winning leagues, winning FA Cups in then times, but it's certainly moved on since that. It's become more professional. When I do tours up at Finch Farm with supporters, you see the girls up there training extremely hard, using all the facilities of the gym, the outdoor pitches and everything, and it is a lot more professional these days, and it just shows with the England team, Al, finishing 3rd in the World Cup in Canada. They had great success. So, yeah, it's on the up, certainly, women's football.
And it's a big season for Everton ladies, because if they can get promotion, then that just elevates them into the Super League itself and bigger profile.
Yeah, you want to be in the top league. There's no question about that, and that's what Everton will be striving for this year, and hopefully they can go on and do it.
Let's hope they can do exactly that. Well, that is just about it for part 2 of this week's programme. Coming up after this short break is our big interview feature. And this time around, we sit down with one of the few players to have ever played for Everton and won over 100 international caps. Yes, as always, Kevin Kilbane speaks really well. And a warm welcome back to the penultimate part of this week's show. Kevin Kilbane served Everton very well over his 121 games for the first team. He never gave anything less than 100% every time he pulled on the blue jersey. And he's carried that natural enthusiasm and dedication into his media career. Killer was back at Goodison Park recently to cover the Swansea City game for the Premier League show. He found time, of course, to sit down in a quiet corner and speak exclusively to the Everton Show.
I love coming back to Goodison, and especially now when I have finished and I have retired, I think I can really appreciate coming back to Goodison even more. It's probably it's the highlight of my career without a doubt when I was playing here.
It's great, isn't it, when you're walking up the stairs and through the lounges and you see so many familiar faces all saying hello to you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a few smiley faces and 1 or 2 grumpy faces, like the usual. But no, I think that's what makes it special. I think because you're seeing the same faces that I'd seen 10, 15 years ago. And it's maybe even the generation before me as well that was 20, 25 years ago, the same faces around the ground. And yeah, and I mean, every player who's played at this club will tell you the same. They've got the utmost respect for the club and the utmost respect for the people that's working around the place, yeah.
A little bit about yourself, Kev. When did you decide that coaching wasn't for you and you'd rather ply your trade in the media?
I don't know. Honestly, Darren, I really don't know. It kind of, it's one of those ways sometimes it does fall upon you, really. I was working with Nicky Barnby up at Hull. I was the reserve team manager up there. And then Nick got sacked. And it was many respects then. I had a phone call off Lee Carsey. I mean, in many respects, you're thinking, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? And Lee Carsey rang me up at Coventry and said, look, you fancy coming down to play, carry on playing if you want for another year. We'd like to try and get you on the coaching side here. So I fancied it, so I went down to Coventry. But I'd just come off the back of a really long injury. I had a really bad back, come back from that. And it was one of those where what was going to decide to do. So it was maybe 2 or 3 months in, actually, and I thought, I can't carry on playing. I knew that my time was up from a playing perspective. Some might have thought my playing time was up 10 years ago, by the way, but it was just how it was. And once I'd finished, I'd already done a little bit with Radio 5 Live at the Euros. I'd done a few little things at Sky. I'd done a few little things with a couple of broadcasters, and it just went from there, really. Once I'd finished, I got asked to do a little bit with the BBC. I got asked to do a little bit with Sky, and that was it. So it wasn't so much I chose to do that, it just kind of fell upon me, really. And then since I've started, I really enjoy it. I love coming back here. I love going to games. What's the buzz like in Ireland right now, Kevin? I bet they're all looking forward to the Euros immensely. Yeah, the buzz in Ireland at the moment is, well, it's as good as it's ever been, I think. I felt towards the end of the last campaign, it was almost getting back to the times even maybe 10 years ago when we qualified for the World Cup, 10, 15 years ago, when in the late 90s, early 2000s, when we were getting good support, the crowd were right behind us, and we've had that bit of a lull. So I think the team now feel almost like they're connected with the team again, or the supporters feel they're connected with the team again, and I feel as though we're onto something really special at the moment. And you know, especially we've got probably, you know, two of our best players are here in James and Seamus. We've got Darren Gibson, we've got Aidan McGeady as well that are here, and I think there's always been that affinity with Everton there. But I think more so on the team side, we're all looking forward now to the Euros, and hopefully, you know, we've got a tough group, but I wouldn't be daunted by the teams that we've got. If we can get a good result in that first game against Sweden, who knows? The Seamus Coleman story is a wonderful football story, and it just keeps getting better and better for the boy from Killybegs. Yeah, and you know, I mean, I was in the Ireland squad when Seamus first came in, and very, very quiet, very, you know, quietly assured of himself. You could see that he had that way about him. You knew what he wanted, you knew where he was going, and he had the utmost belief in himself, and that was maybe the start of his international campaign at the time, and we all felt within the side that he maybe wasn't getting enough game time in the first couple of years under Trapp. I felt as though he missed out on Euro 2012 when he should have been there. I felt he was maybe a bit of a shoe-in for that squad, but it just wasn't to be, and I think he's maybe become better for that, and he's learnt, he knows that regardless of his club form in his early days, he wasn't necessarily going to get a start for Ireland when he perhaps should have been. And now, as you say, the story's incredible. He's now turned into, who I believe, the best Premier League right back. And Aidan McGeady, when he puts the green shirt on, more often than not, turns it on, doesn't he? Aidan's one of the most talented players that I've played with. He's incredible ability. He's another, when he first came into the Ireland squad under Brian Kerr, it seems such a long time ago now, we knew we had someone very special, and he's a player that can turn the game in a moment. And he's a player that maybe he needs someone to get right behind him. He needs maybe a manager right behind him, give him game time, and he's an incredible talent. And you say, the start of the campaign, he scored those crucial goals for us against Georgia, especially the second one that he scored late on. It's one of the best goals I've ever seen by an Irish player. And you'll be looking forward to the Euros. You'll be working, I would imagine. Be a busy summer for you, won't it? Yeah, hopefully, yeah. I'm looking forward to it, Darren. Yeah, I mean, hopefully working with the BBC out there, God willing. I've got a wedding to attend to in Cyprus just before that, Better give Tony a mention, hadn't I? But yeah, I'll be going over there and then obviously into France, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'll be covering a lot of the teams as well, so it won't just be Ireland. I'll hopefully be at the 3 Ireland matches, but I'll be covering the rest of the tournament as well, yeah.
And the fact that you'll be able to spend some time with the incredible Irish fans, I would imagine, is a bonus.
It's always a bonus. It's always a bonus pre and post match, yeah. I think that's what we like going over. I mean, Poland was great. I mean, I was injured in 2012, missed the tournament, so you're obviously a bit gutted from that. But going out to Poznan and Gdansk, where the Irish camps were based, it was incredible. What a tournament that was to go to. Even though the results weren't great, and I think as a whole that the tournament was quite poor on the pitch, but off it, we had some time off it. Yeah.
Is Vanilla Ice still in the locker?
Oh yeah. Oh. It was funny, that one. I mean, like you would have seen it before. I mean, a lot of the lads here at Everton would have seen that before, but it's normally quite private when that one's come out. But Conor McNamara, the commentator from 5 Live, he recorded me. Obviously, it was about 3-4 in the morning at that time. It was actually getting light outside in Poland, and yeah, he put it up on YouTube quite quickly, and it went viral. Yeah, so
the Irish do enhance the tournament, though, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think this time, I think Northern Ireland qualifying, that's as good a story as anything. For them to top that group, it was amazing. Having Wales there, England and Ireland, it would have been nice to have Scotland there as well. But of course, out of anyone in our group, when we were going to qualify, we had to topple Scotland, and that's the way it was. So I think that this tournament is going to be especially better, I think, because of it's been enhanced anyway because of the 4 teams that's there. But a tournament without Ireland, and that's the thing I've even seen this week. I think the 3rd most ticket request gone in from any nation is Ireland, because we love a tournament, we love an event, we love the big stage, and I think the team will thrive on that. Again, I'll go back to the point. I think we'll be better than 2012. I really fancy us to get out of the group. I wouldn't be daunted by playing Italy and Sweden as well. I fancy us to beat Sweden. So, maybe heart ruling my head a little bit. You start to look at it with blinkers at times, but I think we've got a real chance. So, as I say, I just hope that we can, and supporters will enjoy it regardless.
Just finally, Kevin, you've enjoyed watching Everton this season?
I have watched them. I mean, enjoyed watching them. I've loved watching them, Darren. And the only disappointing thing is where Everton are in the table. I mean, I continuously say it's probably the best Everton side that I can remember. I don't really remember the side through the 90s, so the 80s. Sorry, I was probably a little bit young to really. I mean, we weren't seeing as much of Everton on telly. So this side is as enjoyable to watch as I've seen. I think it's the best squad of players that Everton have had in probably 30 years. So I think, realistically, this season, I'd like to see them challenging in the top 6 places, and with the squad that they've got, and you've seen what Leicester are doing this season. There's no other reason to suggest that they can't be challenging the top 4 over the next 2 years.
Well, he was a great pro, wasn't he, in his playing days, Kevin Kilbane, 121 Everton appearances, and he seems to have made a seamless move into the media, Snods, as well.
He does. Very knowledgeable on the game. Good lad. Always got time to speak to Kev. He's round Goodison quite a bit on match days now and again, and yeah, when he put that blue shirt on, I don't think just for Everton, every club he played for, that's the way Kevin Kilbane played. You could play him left back, left hand side of midfield, or in midfield, or wherever, and he'd give you the same performance week in and week out. Probably not a 9 out of 10, but a 7 out of 10, week in, week out. I thought he really did well for Everton in his spell here.
And what an international career. I mean, for anybody to win over 100 caps for your country is quite some feat. Yeah,
it certainly is, and it just shows what a popular figure he was, not only at club level but international level. To get 100 caps playing for your country is fantastic, and well deserved, because he's a top lad.
Sounds like he's looking forward to the Euros, to say the least, now that he's not playing.
Yeah, he does, to be honest, but I think he'll have to behave himself a little bit. It looks as though he'll have plenty of work on with the Irish games. He said he'll be commentating on other games while he's out there, but I'm sure he'll have now and again a possible little drink over there, especially if Ireland winning some games as well.
Well, you can't fail to enjoy it with the Irish, but as he said, he'll be covering a host of games, probably a lot of travelling involved, but we talked about that seamless move into the media, but he's adapted very well, and he's not as opinionated as some, but he puts his views across very well, doesn't he?
Yeah, I've got to admit, there is some co-commentators, there is some analysts that get to you a little bit. But Kev, now I can listen to Kev. I think his opinions are good. I think he comes across well, and he says the right things.
Yeah, big future in terms of staying in the game and talking about it rather than coaching.
Yeah, that's it. There's a lot of people didn't want to go into coaching, and they fell into, like Kev said, they fell into to the media side of it, and he's doing very well. So I'm sure there's lots of ex-players that are doing the same thing.
Coaching badges are a problem for some, aren't they, Snods?
I don't even go down that line, coaching badges. It's never interested me, coaching, really hasn't, but the things that the players have to go through, badges and the A licence, the B licence, and it takes like 3, 4, 5 years, and I just think if you can play football, you can coach.
That might be a surprise to some, that the dedication that some have to show to get those badges.
Well, my brother, for instance, Al, I know he spent years and years and years. He's now at Preston, obviously. He's been with Simon Grayson for many years. He's coached at some good big clubs. And he's been at it now, and he's still going on courses now, but he's got every badge you can. I haven't got one, he's got hundreds.
You stick to the media, Snods.
Correct.
You also made a seamless move from player into the media. Right, that's it for the third segment of the programme. We'll take our final ad break of the show right now. And when we come back, we'll hear from Joe Williams, Ramiro Funes Mori and Steven Pienaar. Welcome back. Let's turn our attentions now to the under-21s, because David Unsworth's boys eased their way into the Lancashire Senior Cup final last week, extending their unbeaten run to 7 games in the process. Joe Williams has been playing particularly well for the under-21s, and he confirmed to us earlier this week that all the lads are delighted with the start they've made to this calendar year.
Being happy with the way we've started this year. Also, my personal performance has been good as well. And to chip in with a few goals and help the side, which Unzi's been asking me to do recently, has pleased me a lot. Yeah.
I know the goal you scored against Newcastle in particular, quite a few views on social media, a bit of a belter from the edge of the box. That must have been particularly satisfying, that one.
Yeah, he was actually saying to me at half time, because I had a few shots earlier on, he was saying, don't be rushing it around the box, just pop it off out wide. And it came out, and it was just, I was like, oh, if this goes over the bar, he's going to kill me. But thankfully it went top corner, so I was happy.
Is that the way you see your game going, becoming more of an attacking player?
I think I can do more of the box-to-box thing, but obviously scoring more goals will help the side and it'll help benefit me. But I do feel as if I can help the team going forward, yeah.
And playing in a game like that Newcastle one, 4-3. What's that like to play in?
It's just you're all over, but you don't really know what you're doing, to be honest. Like when you score at the end, everyone just goes mad a bit, and you don't really know what you're doing. But it's the boss games to play in. Like we knew we were never down. Like we always thought that we were going to get back into the game. We were down 2-0? No, 1-0, then 2-1, weren't it? And then they've got one back to 3-3, and to win 4-3 at the end was mad, but the great games to play in,
So that in mind now, looking ahead, say 3 wins to start the year with, what are your aims for the rest of the season?
We want to just keep kicking on. We want to, obviously I said we want to win something. He's given us targets to finish top 2 of the league, so we want to get up there in the league now. So we're going to look to keep playing the way we're playing. Maybe get this unbeaten run a bit longer, because we've won the last 3, but we've been unbeaten in 6 now. So just keep that going and just keep moving on.
And personally, for you, more goals?
Yeah. If I can get more goals, great. I'd like to make my debut this year. That's what I've been wanting for a while. Hopefully, I'm getting close now to the first team. But yeah, more goals will help that. So I'm gonna keep training hard, and just see what happens.
I think you'll agree he's a young man that is certainly catching the eye, and he's not bad off the pitch in terms of the way he talks as well.
Yeah, he does. He speaks very well, and when I've seen him put Finch form, he's always polite to us as well. But I was at the game, I said last week on the show, I was at the Newcastle game, great game, but Joe's got a bit of everything. He really has. He can score goals, as you can see. He's got aggression. He loves a tackle as well. He's the skipper of the team at the minute, so Unzi's giving him that responsibility. But he can play. He's a good footballer, and it'll not be long, I'm sure, before Joe Williams goes out on loan and gets some experience at a Football League club.
Will that be a big help to him?
Yeah, massive help. All the lads that are out on loan at the minute and who have previously been out on loan surely have come back better players out to Everton Football Club, because you're playing in front of a crowd, you're getting playing for points, so it's important that they do go out on loan.
Sounds like you'll be hearing a lot more of that young man indeed. Right, with Phil Jagielka only recently returning from a knee injury, much of the defensive duties before Christmas were handed to Premier League newcomer Ramiro Funes Mori. The Argentine has looked at home in the Everton back four, but it's in the opposition penalty area where he's really caught the eye, hasn't he? Scoring 3 times, he admits his goal threat is an important part of his game.
I'm enjoying every game in Everton, and you know, it's lovely to play in the Premier League. So, but you know, scoring goals is when you most remember the things. But like I said, I'm enjoying my moment here and playing games and taking from there.
You must be happy with the way you have contributed with goals. You've scored 3 so far. That's a good number at this point.
Yeah, I think you know, for a defensive player, it's good. But you know, like I always said, I always have an ambitious to score goals. But you know, my job is to defend and try to do my best and work hard for the team.
I think everybody will agree that he's settled in particularly well, maybe better than expected, Snods.
Far better than I expected as well. I'd never really heard of him, to be perfectly honest, but he's come in. He's been playing in Argentinian football. So the Premier League's so different from that, and I think he's done really, really well. And as you say, he's probably our biggest threat from set plays when we're going forward. And it always takes their best header of a ball to mark him as well. So it's a good thing that he's good in the air, he's strong.
Not quite Derek Mountfield proportions as yet, but goals from a centre-half are particularly important to a side.
Yeah, it's important that you get goals from everywhere along the pitch, not only your strikers. The teams that I played in before I came, Derek Mountfield, as you said, was scoring double figures. Kevin Sheedy, double figures from left-hand side. Trevor Stevens from the right-hand side. Sharpie, Adrian Heath, etc. So you need goals from everywhere, Al.
Do you think the boss will have been pleased with the way he's adjusted to Premier League football so quickly? It does take some a lot longer to settle in.
Very much so. I think the boss will be delighted. I think the Evertonians are delighted. He's become a crowd favourite. Yeah. What I like about him, he defends. He's a defender. He knows he's a defender. When it's there to be kicked out of play, he'll kick it out of play. When it's there to be won, he wins a tackle.
Ramiro Funes Mori doing particularly well, and let's hope that sort of form continues. Right, we're going to turn our attention to Saturday's FA Cup 4th round trip to Carlisle. The game, in fact, of course, takes place on Sunday at 1:30, but it's a weekend FA Cup game. Everton secured that tie with victory over Dagenham and Redbridge earlier this month. That game also marked the return to action of Steven Pienaar, the South African, ending a nightmare period on the sidelines by getting 77 minutes under his belt. He's hoping for more action on Sunday as Everton again seek to see off League 2 opposition.
Looking forward to it, to be honest. To play in the cup, it's always it's a good competition if you can make it all the way to the final and win it. But I'm looking forward to it, and it's the shortest way to get into Europe for the club as well. So and it will be good to finally win something.
You were part of the team that played against Dagenham. That was your first game from the comeback. So we've already played one League 2 team this year. Is that going to help knowing how to approach a game against lower league opposition?
Yeah, it's always a tricky one in the cup, so you have to be focused from the first minute to the last minute. And I think against our last opponent, we went out with the intention to, we know we don't have to underestimate them, so we started the game really sharp and we didn't give them any hope to get into the game. So I think that having that experience already, so hopefully we can start the game the same way. It's going to be a bit difficult because we're playing away from home, but it will also be, hopefully for us, less pressure because, you know, when you're at home and you're playing against a lower league, for them it's motivation. You're playing in front of big crowds, so it pushes them, it gives them that extra 10%. So for us, I think if we start the way we started the last game, yeah, obviously we know what to expect, and we want to go far in the cup. So
after all your years in England, what would it mean to you to lift silverware?
Yeah, it will be something special, you know. So many years in England, and yeah, I came close once, but hopefully the second time around we can lift something up, and it will be something great to be remembered at a club that I've played for so long, and yeah, to win something will be special.
And just finally, then, looking beyond this weekend, this week, what are your hopes now for the rest of this season?
Just obvious to stay healthy and to enjoy my game.
Well, it's been a long road to recovery for Steven Pienaar, but I, for one, delighted to see him back. I'm sure you are as well, Snods.
Yeah, very much so, and the fans are, because I got many questions by the fans. What's happening with Steven Pienaar? Is he coming back? And I think his performance, especially second half against Swansea the other day, showed that Steven Pienaar has come back and he is as good as ever, because I thought he was excellent last week. And I just remember him from a couple of years ago, the partnership he had with Leighton Baines down that left-hand side was absolutely incredible. They were on fire, the pair of them, and best left-hand side partnership in the Premier League for a couple of years. So it's great to see him back, and I'm sure he'll have an important piece to play between now until the end of the season, Al. And
at Carlisle.
Yes, I definitely think he'll start.
The pitch will be a little better than that.
Yeah, they've had some torrid times up there with the floods, etc.
But Everton have done their bit. The Fans Forum have raised money for Carlisle, which was in a terrible state after the floods. Fantastic from the club.
Absolutely. Every time you put the news on and saw the flood in there, it was atrocious, but the fans have come good again at Everton.
Well, let's hope the fans enjoy a victory at Carlisle on Sunday afternoon. That is just about it for tonight's show. My thanks to Ian Snodin for joining me today, and most importantly to you for watching. Darren will be back next week to look back on the games against Carlisle and Newcastle, and of course to preview our trip to Stoke. Good night.